Hey everybody, welcome back. This is my review for Interview with the Vampire. This is the AMC series. This is episode 1 of season 1, and the title is Etheros of Interesting. Now we start off with a reporter named Daniel. This book is based off the series Interview with the Vampire with Anne Rice. Um, I got a few things. Number one is I never understood why they wanted to change the race of Louis. In this version, 22 version, um, Louis is black. In the book, he is white. I don't know if that holds some significant meaning or anything, but the complaint I have about the 22 version of Louis, is that he's very dull. He pretty much has no personality. I don't know if it's the actor or what, but the actor who plays Louis doesn't have a personality at all. That's just me. I'm sad I'm gonna follow this series. I'm gonna keep going. The other thing is, in the new version, is that Louis is a pimp. Now he's the oldest and most favorited out of all his kids. He has a sister, a brother named Paul, and him. His family lives in a very, very nice house. And originally they had a sugarcane plantation. Now, he never went into detail as to why the sugarcane plantation almost went bankrupt. But it did. We start off with the reporter Daniel. He's bold and brash. He's an investigative journalist, and he has Parkinson's. He only has a few months at the most. He receives a box in the mail, and he opens it to find a letter and cassette tapes. Way back when him and Louis met a while back. I guess this is when it's confusing, because I guess it's when they very first in the '94 version of, you remember at the end of the movie, Louis got angry at the interviewer and he almost tried to kill him, but it didn't work. Then the snap bit him. That's the ending of Interview with the Vampire. Um, this version, Louis bit Daniel, which doesn't make any sense. But Louis said, "You know what? I'm sorry. I want to start over. I want to do over again. I want us to have the interview, start over." And when Daniel asked why he wanted to start the interview over, Louis simply said it's because things change. So, Daniel starts with the question, how long have you been dead? And this is where it goes downhill from here. Um, okay. Okay, so apparently in this version, again, Louis is a pimp. He works on Liberty Street. He owns 8 of the 20 brothel houses. One of the nicest ones that lets him in due to his skin color is called it's called Fool's Play, and that's where he met Miss Lily, where she's basically a high-end lady of the night, and that's where we meet Lestat. Um, the character who played Lestat is very good. He done his homework, kind of, so to speak. But Lestat asked Louis, "How did you get in? Inside of the um, the doors due to your privileges." Um, Louis got upset, and so he basically told. Okay, sorry, my phone was like. Okay, so he basically told Lestat off. He said, don't say that due to the color of my skin. And Lestat claimed that he bought a house from him. Louis got pissed off, and he said, "I never bought a house." So Lestat said, come join them, sit with them. He started speaking French. He's very seductive. The reason why I say the character in the 22 version, Lestat got down pat, he got the stare and everything. He didn't get the hair, right? But he got the personality of Lestat, who's charming, cunning, manipulative. He got down pat. Louis is instantly drawn to him. He basically falls for him. He even told Daniel in the interview that he wanted to be him. Time goes by. Louis and Lestat get to know each other slowly. It goes around town real fast. So his sister asked Louis to invite, Lestat over for dinner. Louis says, okay. I want to talk about Paul. Paul is the younger brother of Louis. In the original story, we never knew what happened to Louis' brother. The only thing we do know is that he passed away. And Louis was devastated. He was devastated. He grieved. Because I think in the novel, that was the only person he had left. Because in the movie, and I think in the novel too, we never hear anyone else of him, being being with him at that time before he was a vampire. But Paul is super religious. Um, very religious. We don't know when, but a while back, Louis said that he went to the nut house, basically, and he changed since then. Paul talks to himself. He asks people random questions like, "Do you believe in Christ?" Which to some people, if you answer that question, you'll get the answer you're looking for. There's a reason why I say that. But Paul went into Louis' room one night and started crying. And his family, his sister, basically said that, told that he's thinking about, the mother's thinking about putting her away. The mother's getting older, and that's going to be a little bit too much to try and take care of her son like that. Louis dismisses her and just be like, "It's fine, just worry about your wedding." He gives her tickets to Europe to travel. At the dinner scene, Paul asks Stat Christ. The Stat says, "Yes, I did believe it once. He wanted to be a priest, like Paul." But it didn't work out. He also goes into saying he was abused as a child, and his father was vulgar. Lestat starts going off the rails, literally. Starts going off the rails, and Louis got upset and said, "Please don't do that again." Lestat was upset because he thought he had a bad impression, because, an argument started. He took the blame. He said, "I'm sorry. I'm my father's temper. I shouldn't have done that." I think Louis eventually starts to fall in love with Lestat. Because then, after a while, after the dinner, Lestat walks Louis to where Miss Lily is. So it was going to be Lestat, Louis, and Miss Lily about to get it on. While Miss Lily was getting down with Louis, Lestat was staring at Louis, and Louis was staring back at him. So this is where it gets kind of like it goes fast. So all three of them together intertwined with each other, and then eventually it just became Louis and Lestat kissing each other, literally. Lestat bites Louis on his neck, and after all that happened, Louis said that he became ashamed over what happened because he's at times questioning sexuality, but I think he believed this time he knew for sure that he was, open about it. His sister has his wedding. It was nice. She celebrated. She looked beautiful in her dress. But then the next day, Paul Paul and Louie are on the roof of the house. They start talking. The last words Paul said was, "I love you, Louie." And Louie said, "I love you back." And Paul said that he ate too much cake. He jumped off the roof. Louie witnessed it and was devastated. Um, his family blames him for it because they said that Paul was frail. But that wasn't the case. Paul needed help bad. Very, very bad. And everyone knew it. But the mother didn't want to accept it. Instead, she put the blame on Louie because Louie was very harsh with him. I mean, they were close, to each other. But Louie was harsh with him. During the funeral, the stat shows up like an angry ex-girlfriend. Trying to talk to Louie, but Louie gets upset because number one, you were at a funeral, his brother's funeral. He just saw his brother die in front of him. And now here you are at this funeral, uninvited. So after the funeral happened, Louie claims he could hear the stat's voice. He goes to church. He talks to Father Mattia. I think it's Mattia. And tells him his sins. And the stat shows up, kills both of the priests. And he tells Louis basically, "I know what you want. What you want is death. You've been hiding behind a mask all this time. It's literally time for you to show who you are. Be open to yourself for me. And basically be my lover." Louis agrees and changes into a vampire. The stat bites him, you know, he changes to a vampire. It's gonna take me a while to it's going to take me a while to get used to this because number one, I'm used to the 1994 version, and number two, they jumped way too fast in the kissing scene. Way too fast. I can see if it's in the second episode, But the first episode, they just went ham at it. Um, this is just my personal opinion. They should never remade Interview with the Vampire, period. They had a plot that was good. They could have changed the character who played Louis to a different name. Well, both Louis, yeah, he could change Louis' character to a different name. And what could have happened was that could have been one of Lestat's past lovers. And then, like for example, for instance, he had that sugar cane. Well, Lestat could have helped him sold the sugar cane on his plantation, get him out of bankruptcy, helped his family. All along, he didn't know who Lestat was. Kind of, you see what I'm saying? Like, basically, they didn't have to redo Interview with the Vampire to some, I guess, try to be modern, my guessing. Because in the beginning, there's this man in the back when it was Daniel and Louis and about to interview, there was some random guy in the back who they don't even say his name. We don't know who he is, who he represents, or what. But he's just there. But anyway, I'm going to watch the second episode. Because usually they say the second episode is usually better than the first. There's 7 episodes altogether. And there's already going to be a second season of this already. The whole show hasn't even been completed yet. And there's already a second season. My guessing is to keep up with the novel or the movie or whichever, but they have something. But it's just not there for now. Anyway, that's my my review for Interview with the Vampire. I will see you next Monday evening. And thank you guys so much for listening. Please push the like button, subscribe. Thank you, and bye-bye.